It's been a long time since we've done something like this. We've been building, the core vision of Presence at least coming on 3 years. I feel like we've reverse engineered different iterations of it. And now we have this self-development marketplace where we're answering the problem for these niche pages that can't monetize. We're answering the problem for these passionate creators that can't get the reach. And even we're answering the problem for users that can't get credible access to, the right people to have their breakthroughs and level up. How would you describe Presence as it is right now? Why are you so bullish or passionate that it's actually going to work? Why are you still here and driving it as a founder? Why have you not pulled the plug on it and just been like, you know what, guys, we've tried. Talk to me.
The reason I haven't pulled the plug on it is because we haven't really tried. We're still doing it, right? Because tried would imply that we failed or there is room for failure. So in this instance, no, we haven't. We're still doing it. And Presence, the reason why it's going to work and why I'm so bullish about it, more than being bullish about it, I'm certain it will work and it should work. Simply because we're addressing different pain points. We're addressing pain points for a user who wants to upskill themselves in various genres of life, from business, it can be whatever, from business to fitness to love, relationships, and spirituality, all of those things. At the same time, a pain point for creators or leaders, people with the expertise in those realms of business, finance, fitness, love, spirituality. Those guys can't reach these people properly. And there's also a lot of them and a lot of wannabes. So the real ones aren't getting enough traction. For an example, Sadia Khan recently was one of those creators she's a creator or rather a coach that teaches love and relationship, but she was recently exposed to being in a scandal. So that credibility is gone. And
It's not the love your job, job your love. Do you know that person?
was that Sadia Khan?
Nah,
No, I
no,
don't
maybe
think so.
not. But you know about that person that
I've
went
seen
viral?
that. Yeah. Not her.
No, okay.
And then so their pain points are also addressed by Presence because they don't have the proper reach as well. And most of these coaches don't know the first thing about reaching their audience. Some of the big ones like Tony Robbins, they've kind of established themselves because they had a massive amount of money throughout their period and they've got teams behind them. But you have the other creators that are somewhat credible. They know what they're talking about, but they can't really get their reach. So we're addressing that. On the other side, on the flip side, on the back end rather, you have a ton of faceless pages, niche pages, people that are passionate about that particular niche and they have a page and they have an audience. They can't monetize that audience because of several different restrictions by the platforms themselves. On top of that, they don't even know where to start on how to monetize. And quite often, these people will hold on to that asset, not really wanting to risk it, not really wanting to do anything with it because they're so, that 900,000 followers or 1 million followers, they've gotten it after such hard work. They don't even know how to properly monetize it and they're scared.
And they're so attached because they don't have an asset with this much potential and they don't want to do something to lose that asset.
Exactly.
Therefore, they miss opportunities to truly
100%.
monetize it.
And I've been those people and I know people like that. And there are people out there that just
What's an example of that? Like, what's a page that, like, for example, you grew or you work with to grow, it got to a certain point, you've been fearful and you maybe missed an opportunity, and in contrast, what you do now? I think that'd be good.
Without naming the pages, I know personally there's a 5.6 million follow page at the moment that's sitting ducks because the individual is afraid to monetize or
Take a
proceed
calculated
with
risk
it.
almost.
And I don't blame him because he has lost that page several different times because of trying to monetize it in various different ways. And there are tons of them out there.
So in contrast, right, what could a $5.6 million page be turning over?
A lot of money. At the minimum, they could be making $40,000 to $50,000 a month.
Minimum.
At the minimum,
Yeah.
I believe.
And this individual is not, due to obviously his past experiences, fears, and
Yeah, the individual is making money elsewhere.
sure.
And he's a close friend of mine.
Okay.
And like him, I know of other people too. They've got massive amounts of pages. You can take memes for an example. It's got so much more potential because they've got 20 odd million followers. They are monetizing, but there is a lot more that they could be doing, and that's what Presence is going to address.
Cool.
But that's a meme page. If you were to take some business pages, spiritual pages, they have a lot more potential because they would have more products to sell, and the people that are consuming that content,
They're buyers. They're prime buyers. They're self-developers.
Exactly. They're eager. They're motivated. They want to get somewhere in life, right? So it's not just a meme page. It's more. There's a lot more substance to it, and there is a lot of those people, a lot of that audience just sitting ducks, and they're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. The person's posting it is now at this stage only posting for the likes and the engagement and the dopamine hit that he gets, and not really the money. And so bridging that gap is what Presence does. It's a three-way bridge for the user to get what they want from credible mentors, for mentors to get the reach to the users that want to buy, and for them to build their credible vertical, for the pages and the niche pages that are passionate about these industries or subjects to continue to post and make money and grow their audience. So that's why it makes sense.
Cool. I want to go way deeper into affiliate pages, understanding it. I think it's good to share more about us, because if there's three avatars, the affiliate page, theme page, niche pages, etc. There's the creators that are stuck. They have great products and stuck with their reach, and then there's the users. We're both self-developers. We both, put time, energy, attention into working on ourselves. So we understand the mindset of the self-developer. I'm more on the creator side, where I've been the creator putting out a ton of high-value products based on, the years I've had of working on myself and struggled to convert. And I've sort of found my avenue when it comes to high-ticket sales. So I've sold everything from $100 sessions to $25,000 upfront for a digital service or digital product, mentoring. And I've done that multiple times over 4 or 5 years. But even with me, if I had access to 10 million followers or 100 million views, a staple product, I'll just be making substantially more. So I understand the creator problem to a T, and you understand the affiliate problem to a T because you've been involved in pages, monetization, strategy of that. Tell us more about like what you've done in maybe in the angle of VG or however you would say it. Like why do you understand the affiliate page monetization problem?
Essentially, VG's basically grown brands, and it depends, right? So you've got physical brands and non-physical brands. What I mean by that is like they've got a physical outlet, and then some of them don't have a physical outlet. Most of it is just content monetization. And how is it monetized? Through the traditional means of monetization, that is through YouTube views and or Facebook views and or Instagram views. All three of these platforms have consistently, Facebook and Instagram have consistently been troublesome platforms to deal with, and till to date, they're still very troublesome to creators. I've seen creators suffer. I myself know personally creators that suffer. I know pages that suffer. There could be a page that has 3 million followers, but they're probably only making $15,000 a month. But there could be another page that has 1 million followers, but they could be doing $60K a month. So to speak in general terms, we've grown pages both in terms of followers and in terms of revenue. What VG Media has achieved would be progression either through followers or progression through monetization.
And what kind of numbers are we looking at that you can share? Just so, are people thinking like you grew a page from 1,000 to 2,000 followers, or?
Oh no, exponentially. Yeah. If I was to say, it'll be more than 30x in terms of views. We've done 30x, we've done 40x.
Huge.
But to be conservative, I would say about 30x.
Massive.
So, and again, these are individual, right? This is why I can tell.
So it's like an individual creator, entertainer brand,
Yes.
and you've plugged your VG machine into their brand, and you've brought in a 30x almost like exposure gain.
Yeah.
When it comes to views.
Yes.
And then also with that 30x of like exposure and gain, do you also help them strategize? Like, is it then conventional monetization that you unlock, or does VG also strategize like unique, like let's drop this product, let's do this? Do they do that side of things for the creator as well, or is that?
No,
Okay.
most often we don't do
Okay,
that, and
fair.
and for many reasons. While we can suggest it, the creator may have an ego, and
Have their own ideas.
Quite often the case. Again, I can't really say names, but otherwise.
So
yes.
the main thing is just exposure. which is as a marketing agency, and is reach.
Reach.
And so VG is a marketing agency that specializes in reach.
Yeah, I think it used to be a marketing agency mainly, but it now is more of an agency that shares an expertise in monetization.
Okay, cool.
Right.
So content monetization is your forte,
Is the key.
ironically, which is then the main pain point of the affiliate pages
Affiliates,
and niches.
exactly.
And cool. So that's why, like, I wanted to just ask to almost position you why your word even matters.
Oh, right.
Because
Yes.
there's the credible people that we're talking about, we can easily fall into that category of just two other cowboys just
Yeah.
talking about their opinions,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes we don't want to boast, etc.
Yeah,
It's not even about boasting, it's just saying it what it is.
Yeah.
Cool. So this guy has done 30, 40x when it comes to exposure and his teams.
Yeah.
Of course, and it depends on many factors, including the individual.
And different genres.
Different genres. Just like for me, right? Like as much as I've coached people, they got to go and execute the teachings.
Exactly.
So there's
Yeah.
been people that I've coached that have not executed as much as other people.
Yeah.
So then the results do vary as well, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So that being said, content monetization is your forte in one area. You've got many fortes.
That's right.
But the forte through VG and what you bring, especially to Presence, is that angle. So that being said, how is Presence innovating when it comes to content monetization? How are we streamlining that? How would you answer that?
So the main way we're innovating is we're bringing in a zero cost to entry for coaches and for niche pages. So there's absolutely no cost. There's nothing you need to pay up front.
So no marketing retainer, no ad
Nothing.
spend, nothing, zero.
Right. And so you jump onto Presence, and we're basically building not more. It's not really a community. It's more than that. It's a network. It is a platform where the niche pages help the creators and the creators help the niche pages to reach the right audience. And the audience benefits from getting quality service, quality information, quality products that benefit their lives so they can actually improve their lives and self-develop on whichever genre or subject that they want to develop their lives in. And so it's a three-way platform solving three different pain points. Being in the industry and even just observing and running offline businesses as well, I've got more offline businesses than I have online. And the struggle that offline businesses have with reach is very similar to what coaches would have because they're running a business, but it's online as well. And so I can see both parallels. I can see those that are offline and those that are online, both are struggling for that one main thing, and that is reach and exposure. And Presence delivers that for almost free at the start. You don't normally, let's say you as a creator would have to pay so much firstly to even get started, and thereafter you're still not guaranteed that it's going to convert into a sale.
I remember you telling me this, and this is what really landed when we were obviously building out the current model and challenging and playing devil's advocate. You asked me, for example, okay, what's an amount of money I brought in a month? Okay, 50 grand. And how many views would I have gotten to bring in that 50 grand? Right? So all of that for me was organic.
Yes.
Right? So organic outreach, just hitting up the DMs, X amount of conversations. Even my page is not the greatest when it comes to views because in fucking early days I bought followers, etc. So I really had to roll my sleeves up just to convert, but that was still 50K in a month. Well, actually 50K in a week. You know?
Yeah.
So that was like one of my best weeks at that
weeks.
time, right? So I remember you asking me, if you 100x the views of that, how much could I make? You could argue that it could be a $500,000 week.
Yeah.
And then I have a different problem now. It becomes almost like infrastructure to be able to support that influx of clients, like delivery.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother game, but that's almost the problem that we want.
But that's a good problem.
That's a good problem. And that's the problem, that's the problem that you see with the Tony Robbinses and the Grant Cardones. So there's so much demand for their products and they're making so much money that they're forced to expand and scale and build a team and etc. And that's ironically everywhere every coach is trying to get. They're passionate. They want to make it their lifestyle. They might be just stuck at that 5K mark, even if they're there or not. But with the right exposure on the right quality individual and teacher, it can massively explode it. And that's why I love this because it's not, I don't have to think of the marketing retainer fee. I don't have to think of ad spend. And even I'm learning, when you run ads, you don't get the ROI instantly. It takes like fucking 6 months before it understands what you're even looking for.
Right.
So then that's 6 months of marketing spend. Because I get like a lot of early coaches like, hey, Chent, do you think I should do paid ads? And I'm like, bro, You need 6 months of at least like marketing spend runway before you even think about it.
Right.
And they can't even pay the bills sometimes next
Exactly.
week.
Yeah.
So they almost stuck.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's why presence comes in like ready play, because through the niche pages that we're building, we've got the networks of the audience already existing. So we don't need to wait for 6 months to find the right audience for you, because we're exposing you to the crux and the core of people in, let's say, spirituality, in business, in whichever niche you belong to. That presence just does that instantly. Whereas if you were to just rely on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, you firstly need to learn how to market. That's one. Then you can trial and error and split test and do whatnot, and it's probably going to take you 6 months to get there.
True.
And we've seen that. And I think that's another thing that VG has done as well, is where we can pick someone right now, and if they are a creator, we can actually, for them to be a successful creator who's starting out from scratch, and if they were to dedicate their life for, about 5 years, they will make it. But VG with the team, they could actually take you, and you could go from 0 followers to 100,000 followers in about a year, and so we can get you there faster. Now, essentially, presence is saying you can come as long as you have a good product and you're delivering great service. You don't need a single follower, and we could take you to 10 million tomorrow. We can expose you to 10 million tomorrow. And that's essentially what presence is saying.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm going to just throw one more question, and then I'm going to do a big twist on this. What's the difference between VG and presence?
VG is a company that has teams to help creators that are not necessarily, you don't need to be in a particular genre. You can be a comedian to a TV show, motor TV show, or anything, or even a chef, right? And whereas presence is highly focused on, at the moment at least, highly focused on self-development. So in that sense, it's a different realm. And presence is a platform, which is the likes of like Instagram, or
like a software.
So
it's almost like a consulting services business and an actual platform,
actual platform,
technology,
right,
etc. Cool.
So yeah, it's very different.
Okay, presence aside, I found you to be a very unique individual when it comes to your perspective on money, currency, universe, etc. I'll tell you what I mean. Being a creator in the creative self-development business entrepreneurial scene for the last 10 years for me, online is very interesting. You get two sides of the spectrum. You get the super businessy guy that plays the game and has the car and makes sure he's got the watches on and he looks like money.
Right.
And he almost has to sort of play that game to attract the money. You get that one side, flying only jets, etc. And I'm part of that. You get the other full swing, where it's full spirituality. I attract, I don't chase. And they purposefully almost will dress down because they're like, I don't need to wear the money. I am the money.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. You're interesting because you understand that, but you're an embodiment of those spiritual understandings, and your businesses and your life, even the fact that you say that you have more offline businesses than online business. You're not playing the online business game to play the game to make the money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have things, you have assets, you have, I won't say what in liquid, etc. So I'm going to throw questions at you. I believe, I always find it very fruitful, more than even courses I've invested in or people that are just how you see things.
Right.
And a very simple thing which used to frustrate me a lot because I'm almost like, give me the answer. But I realized that was the problem. It's because I'm making it fucking complicated.
Yeah.
So if I just start with what is money?
Right.
How would you answer that?
In just one word, it's energy.
This is what frustrates me, right? So tell me more. What is money? What do you mean by its energy?
Okay, so
how do I make money? How do I get more money?
Right. So as today, right, we live in a world which has different layers. So we've got a religious layer, then you have a political layer, you have a scientific layer, you have a technology layer, and we've got an economic layer, right? So we live in a part of these, which is now what we call the matrix. And so all of these combined...
You could say layers of code. But
just layers of code.
Carry on.
All of these rules and restrictions form this unspoken rule or brings an order about how we operate. For an example, we drive a car, we don't ride horses, or we don't walk anymore to a destination. And to ride that car, you would use your bank account, which is a part of an economic layer, etc. Right? But at the end of it, like at the very base of it, we are, like, if this is Earth, we're monkeys on a rock that's revolving around a giant fireball, which we call the sun. That's the fundamental layer. That's a base layer of this game, right? Besides that, everything else was created. We created in the mind, we brought it into reality, and they are very real things. But if you take the base universe, that's what we are, right? And everything else is built on top of this. And so if you were to look at and you break down what is the base layer and what's it built out of, it's all just energy based. So even electricity that runs our economy, that runs pretty much everything here, is based on energy. And we can't really get that unless we tap into the universe. So yeah, money, right? So if you were to trace it back, and I think I've done this before and I've told this before, so you go to work and you're exchanging your energy, because you're not just exchanging time. If I was just exchanging time, I would just stand at work and just wait there. But I'm giving
Output.
Right? I'm thinking and whatnot. So I'm giving energy. In exchange, I'm getting $100 or whatever amount at the end of the day or week or month.
So it's like energy output for energy input in the form of currency.
In the form of
into
currency.
my bank account.
Right. And then I use that currency to go and buy, let's say, some meat to eat. Right. So if I eat meat at the end of the day, I basically use that to replenish my energy. But then
then I take this energy, I swipe the card to buy this, cook this, and eat that to replenish energy again
through food. Right. And at the house that I live in, also the people that built it, if you go a layer deep, they had to do the same thing. They had to eat the meat too to build the house and whatnot. So that's also built out of energy. So if you trace it back, where did I get this meat from? Well, the meat, I got it from the supermarket. Where did the supermarket get it from? The farmer. Where did the farmer get it from? The cow. So how did the cow get fat and produce that meat? Well, he ate the grass. Where did the grass get its energy from?
The sun.
The sun. So technically, what does the sun produce? Energy. Which is,
where did the sun get it from?
well, from fusion, right? And you go down to, then that's going even further down, and I can take you down that rabbit hole. And then you start realizing that it's all, again, you. So
Because the atoms and the photons,
Right.
whatever, are actually what vibrates in you.
In you.
Yep. So
Right.
we're the same fabric as the sun, but to the practical physical point, all energy is coming from this sun.
Well, at least all energy that we experience, most of it is coming from the sun. Some of it already is tapped in and locked in onto the earth. But yeah,
On different dimensional layers, etc.
that's right.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's interesting that
Yeah.
the answers to these questions are always perspectives
Yes.
rather than answers.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm really even getting in this moment is like, because then if you actually take that perspective and embody that perspective and move through your day with perspective, then it would shift, right? Instead of like, where's the money, where's the money, where's the money? You would see the energy, see the energy, see the energy. True?
So that, what I just said, is not perspective, it's reality.
True. And but then some people are not living with the perspective of reality.
Right.
You know? So
That's
then
why I
when they
say
see
common sense is not so common.
True.
And that's because you can go through these layers. Someone who would be thinking at a financial level, if I spoke to an economist right now, he would sit there struggling to understand this level.
Because he's stuck on heavily on that economic layer.
Right. But if I spoke to a physicist or a quantum physicist, he would be like, yeah, you're more closer to the truth than you think, you know.
True.
Yeah.
But then the physicist, I'm guessing, won't be as financially wealthy because he misses that business economic layer.
Exactly.
True. So I guess it's just getting all these multiple truths, aka perspectives, and therefore building the truth on reality by understanding all these multiple layers and then becoming an embodiment of it, right?
Yeah. There's multiple layers, and I'm not the only one. There's tons of people out there that have this view.
Of course. And that is like the key to success, is why I even talk about that, is most people, when I say the spectrums, is like the guys heavy on this side are heavy on one layer, and the guys heavy on this side are heavy on another layer. But these guys usually lack this, and these guys usually lack that.
Right.
It's very rare you see the embodiment of someone that understands all layers. But then if you study the wealthy, you realize that they are the embodiment of all layers, and they're living it.
Yeah.
I'll spin that then. So that being said, you look at me, what I do for a business. I could be doing a lot better. I could whatever, right? But then you also look at coaches. So if you like personally to me, That being said, from your pair of eyes, your glasses, what do you believe I should be doing more of, and what do you believe I should be doing less of?
Just from my eyes, right? I think everyone lacks control, right? To a certain degree or another. So instead of being on one spectrum or the other spectrum, the most ideal place to be is in the middle. And I think everybody should try to be in the middle. So for an example, you could say, I don't spend enough. I don't buy enough. I don't have... But then there's also the other spectrum where somebody else looks at me and be like, well, Dylan is wearing Balenciaga shoes at the moment. Well, what do you mean he doesn't spend enough? Right? And then somebody else will say, well, he drives a Merc. What do you mean he doesn't spend enough?
Yes.
Because that guy's riding a bicycle.
Yeah.
And so you got all of that, right? So to me, for somebody else, I look like, and it depends on who they are and where they are, who's looking. So it's all about the observer, and it's the observer effect. And if you've heard of the double slit experiment,
Yes.
right? So reality only collapses when it's observed, and so it depends on the observer
And where they're observing from.
and where they're observing from, and it's their reality that is manifested. So to answer this question, my reality that I observe you from, that I manifest, right, that I see you, and that's why I had to explain that.
Yeah. I get it. So that being said, from your point of view,
To get to the middle.
From your point of view, what should I do more of, and what should I do less of?
You should spend less
Okay.
and invest more.
Invest more on what?
Invest more.
Oh, wait. Spend less on what and invest more on what?
Okay, spend less on anything that isn't an investment. Simply,
Okay.
right?
Fair.
But mostly tangible investment. You could argue that you invest in your body.
Yeah. Or I invest in things that make me feel energetically good so I can make more sales.
Exactly, right? But the issue that you have, and if you want to get truly wealthy, is you only have 100 years or less, right? So you trying to make more sales by yourself will only get you so far.
And just to add to that point, I realize if you're investing, because it's a trap of mine, if I'm investing into finer things so I'm being perceived in a certain way, that's still at subject to where the guy is looking from. So it's like a losing battle.
Yeah.
You're always going to have to be buying more to impress. That's
Exactly.
what I sort of realized. And then I've slowed down, but I haven't fully slowed down in that. So
Right.
I received that feedback.
Yeah, you can only truly break free when you don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And so then you can start using that money because you didn't give a shit about those things. Now you have more money. And so then you could invest it. The problem is a lot of people fall into the trap when they don't give a shit about that. They get some money. They have got bad habits, and you can have bad habits. Most people have habits. And it goes from alcohol to pretty much anything, right? And then you can start seeing this money leaking. So having good habits, which I think you have, because you invest in your health more than anyone,
True.
even more than I do.
True.
And so you have a strong foundation. And I think, just again, from my reality, if you were to spend less on what other people thought, and you were able to use that money to leverage into an asset or a business that would bring you more money, that would then you'd use again to invest and reinvest, and you can compile and grow, which is exactly what
Faster.
I've done.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm sitting here and having a conversation, but I'm selling. There are systems out there that are making the sales for me.
As you sit here.
As I sit here and I'm talking, there's about
Whereas
10
I'll have to jump on a call or something like that
Right.
still. Yeah, because I haven't invested. So it's almost like the lifestyle costs. If I could reduce those lifestyle costs and expenses by giving less of a shit, and ironically giving less of a shit by knowing the value that I already bring to the table and not caring about other people, and therefore unlocking more cash flow for more tangible asset investment, which I ask you in a sec, that then would unlock or speed up the process for me to have more of those systems in place that make money
Yes, exactly.
in that 100-year span that I'm limited to.
Yeah.
True.
And so, like, I wouldn't say I coach people, because I don't coach people, but I partner with people. So I have business partners with me in more of my offline business than even online. And they are literal business partners. They put money as well. And they are growing with me. So at the moment, they are benefiting more than just coaching as well from just the growth of it, because they're changing internally as well. It's something that's very difficult to teach. Like, I know you struggle to teach to some people because they struggle to invest. A lot of people themselves, again, it's about their perspective.
Yeah.
They would struggle to put the money down, and because they struggle to put the money down, it's very hard to get them to a destination. And so I have found a few people that were willing to put the money down, and they're actually getting somewhere.
Because they got something on the line. They're invested.
They're invested.
Yeah, and that's always the key with the why you have to charge. And in your case, the partnering is the investment, but then that also makes them now open to receive your value, your insights, your direction, and they obviously meet with their whatever they bring to the table too.
Exactly.
True. Yeah.
For an example, before you actually become a millionaire, you need to be the person who is a millionaire. That means you need to have the same habits as me. For example, okay, I want to get fit. I want to have the same health habits as you do.
True.
Right? What do I need to do? I need to be like Chent.
Yeah, there's no program.
Exactly.
Just like if you ask, just like I'm asking you, how do I become rich?
Exactly.
All right.
So we're opposites in that sort
Yeah.
of way. So I'm trying to be like you in terms of fitness. And so I would, if I really had to be it, all I need to do is wake up and make the same choices that Chent does.
Yeah, it seems obvious,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And why is it so hard? It's
Yeah.
because we're programmed a certain way, right? And so that individual who's failing to put that investment down or who's failing to really jump in, well, they can't do it because they're programmed a certain way.
Interesting. Okay, so that sort of changes the question I was going to ask, because I was going to ask, okay, there is a little bit of being the majority, 90% of being adopting the habits of the person you want to become, and then you become that, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm guessing there's a little bit of education and knowledge you need to know as well.
Of course.
What are these assets? Is it leverageable? Do I have to come up with certain deposits? Can I leverage entities and banks and other people? Tell me more about like
100%.
assets and
yeah,
investment.
you can buy a business for no cash.
So you're saying businesses, like I should be investing in more businesses?
No, but you can. Any investment is better than no investment.
Fair.
But yes, I would choose a business route simply because, let's say the four things really you can invest in is either cryptocurrencies, the share market, property. What's the other thing? Oh, and businesses, right? So how much of the crypto market do you control?
Zero.
How much of the property market do you control?
Zero.
Okay, and how much of the stock market do you control? Zero. How much of your business, if you had one, would you control?
Majority.
100% of it at least, right?
Other than the economy, but still it's how you play it in the economy.
Right.
Yeah.
And so most people are fearful of the economy.
Interesting.
Well, the answer to this is this, right? If the economy collapses, everything collapses. So you're safe because you're not the only one collapsing. The
Your job would collapse.
Everything's collapsing. The banking system would collapse. So you're safe. The economy is built on a layer that if you are collapsing, everything is collapsing. There are the odd individuals that collapse before the economy collapses, but that's because of their habits. If they really sit down and think about it,
Always.
you gave up because you thought you failed, and it was your narrative in your head that actually made you lose that.
Because there's someone in the exact same industry business that's winning in that moment. So it's a
100%.
you thing, not an economy thing.
It's more of a you thing, not an economy thing. Because the economy is shitty. Sure, why am I thriving?
I learned that through COVID and like this recent recession. Just seeing that, the X amount, how many millionaires were made in COVID while everyone was crying.
Yeah.
Right? And then therefore, even if I'm going through a low drought when it comes to sales or just whatever, that's the same thought I have now of like, there's someone out there that this is their best month ever.
100%.
And then I just focus on who I need to be for that to be me.
Yeah. The winners won during COVID and the losers lost during COVID. It's as simple as that.
True,
right?
true.
Like you look at the Tates, they won during COVID, but they're a winner. That's why. And so...
Okay, that being said, so investments aside, controlling 100% of the business aside, even if you invest into businesses and if I lower my expenses and invest into businesses, if I have a loser mindset and loser mentality and loser habits, I'm going to lose regardless.
That's why you need a mentor and a coach.
Okay, so when it comes to a winner's habits, obviously, okay, I could say I'm a winner when it comes to health, you're a winner when it comes to wealth.
Right.
In your perspective, and I'm curious if we have the same thing, what are the traits of a winner in your game? And then I'm going to see if it's the same when it comes to...
If I was to summarize it,
Yeah.
good habits.
Which are?
It's as simple as that. So, for example, if I was to ask you the same thing,
Okay.
who is a winner when it comes to what are the habits of a winner in
Discipline,
health?
consistency, follow through, staying a student,
Right.
being confident as a master, though, I'm guessing all the same shit?
All the same thing. It's exactly the same thing.
How do you become, if you're a winner in one area and you're losing in another area.
Yeah.
This might be a stupid question, which is like just adopt the habits. How do you transfer it? And even if as much as you try, you just seem to lose in that one area, is it just getting a guide and a mentor to hold you accountable to those habits in that area?
Exactly. So for an example, and 2020, was it 2024? 2023 was my most fittest year that I've ever had. And that's because I got a PT.
Yeah, and you were paying him to show up to the gym, actually.
I paid him twice a day, right? I paid him twice a day. I did
How much were you paying him?
$70 a day. $70 a session.
Okay, so $140 a day.
Yeah.
For how many days in a week?
5 days a week.
140 times 5 is what?
Yeah. Well,
5,
yeah,
8.
whatever.
So almost like $600-700,
Per
but
week.
that was your level of investment for you to be invested.
That's right.
To take that to adopt the good habits that you needed to win in that area.
Right.
Okay.
And I still lost. and I'll continue to explain.
Yeah.
Right? So I did that, and I did that for about 6 months or so, and I fell off the bandwagon again because inside, deeper, the program was still running.
The identity.
Yeah, the program was still running.
That's why I shot you that random shot that takes $10,000, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it's also a readiness and a willingness and a timing thing, too.
100%.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, but that was a stepping stone for me to get into the fitness industry. Now I own a gym.
Interesting.
And it's because of I worked with a PT.
It's funny, you went with your business mind. That was still a business investment for you, yeah?
That was a business investment.
That's crazy, because actually I noticed that business is just like I perform better in the gym because of business. I brought like a gym self-development. I always say a business is the greatest, or entrepreneurship is the greatest self-development program.
Yeah.
So I think I naturally spin everything into self-development, and you'll spin everything into like business and monetization.
Yeah, probably.
Crazy.
And it's not my only, like, I'm probably going to, so I'll probably open 4 more gyms at least, or 3, at the minimum 3. And so that was the start of that, but I still haven't solved my fitness. You see, and so no matter what, I'm still struggling with it. And so you have the likes of people who, no matter what, they will still struggle with the business.
Their thing.
That's because you need some mentors. I was fortunate enough to meet a person who changed my life when I was about 16 or 17. I learned a little bit from my father, but there was only so much that you can learn from your father. But most of it was by this guy called Shehan Fernando. He was a mentor, a teacher. He didn't have a lot of business himself, or a lot of expertise himself, but he had the knowledge, and he pointed me to 4 or 5 different people.
Okay.
For example, he encouraged me, don't look at Donald Trump, but look at Lord Alan Sugar.
Okay.
Don't look at XYZ, look at Richard Branson. And so he showed me the good habits.
He pointed you to the people to almost model,
Pretty
including
much.
himself,
Exactly.
in terms of his habits and his traits.
To some degree.
To some
yes.
degree. Because you take everything from mentors with a grain of salt. I even say it to the people that I coach, is like, take my things with a grain of salt. Whereas people try to almost emulate, like if I just pretend to be exactly like this guy, I'm going to get what he has.
Yeah.
But there's also elements of me that I wouldn't want to pass on. You know what I'm saying?
True. And to get to this point, I was actually failing. Technically, I was failing. I was failing my in Sri Lanka you call it ordinary levels, O levels. Oh, sorry, was it O levels? Yeah, O levels. And business was one of those subjects where I was getting an S for. An S is a simple pass, like you barely made it.
Almost like a C.
Like nothing. Yeah,
C minus.
Yes.
Yeah, I was a C minus guy too.
Right. And so this guy he basically, instead of teaching me, he made me fall in love with it. Yeah, like I was so interested in the subject because I learned from Lord Sugar. I learned from, because he's a lord now. He's not just Sir Alan Sugar. Back then he was Sir Alan Sugar. And I learned from these guys. I started looking at their personal lives, and I was like, I can do that, and that's possible. And I learned the habits first because I was 17. I was able to do it. And before you know it, within a month, I had my first business. And I did.
So he almost conditioned, which is one of the keys, he conditioned you to learn to love the process.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
yes.
and that's the thing. It's the gym. If you don't love the process, you're quitting.
Exactly.
Full stop.
Exactly. And so that's the thing, right? He made me learn to love the process, which I didn't know at the time, but now I do.
Almost unconsciously, he taught you that.
Yeah. Because as humans, we're extremely programmable, and it depends on who you spend the most of your time with. Like, there's a saying, someone else said this, if you spend time with 5 clowns, you'll become the 6th clown. If you're in a room,
5 millionaires, 6.
you become the
5
6th millionaire.
criminals, 6.
And I find that to be true because while I didn't spend time with these people that he pointed me in the direction with, I did spend a lot of time watching them and learning from them.
That's it. That 5 rule is still who you consume too. And that's, again, coming back to presence, why
Exactly.
that is important.
And
Access.
exactly. And so if you look at it in a kind of roundabout way, we're trying to curate the right people for you to actually look at on presence and learn from on presence, because
the ease of access to your 5 is difficult. How credible your 5 are, to know that is difficult. If you're in a location like New Zealand, it's difficult.
Yeah.
So we pretty much open up these networks through this platform.
100%.
And I think that's even just a real good loop of like everything we're talking about and the depth of it, of money and just being successful in our own avenues and what it takes, how to model that, how to program that, all goes into why we're so passionate about this platform.
Yeah.
And why we know and believe it's the way, right?
Yes. And you eventually start finding yourself in these rooms too. Like, for an example, the type of people that I met, eventually. I met Shaylin. I met several other different types of people that have sort of helped me as well in a way or so. Even you.
Yeah.
Right. So you start attracting those people. Because
that think similar in their own
Exactly.
avenues, right? Because Shaylin will have his own things where he thinks like that too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, so you attract really of people of the same frequency, and so that's why I believe getting mentored when you are not, you need to get mentored from somebody who's been there and done that.
Yeah.
And that way you can be there and do that. And that's essentially why presence would exist as well, and why we're trying to make it free for mentors to jump in, for niche pages to jump in with solving their problems and helping to solve the average user.
And I think even the spin is like a lot of the ways to work on yourself right now through the sales funnels. It's all selling a specific something. It's almost like it's not deep enough. So I'll give you an example. Like the business guy is selling $10,000 per month. Build an e-com store, and in this, he's selling the outcome, but he's not selling. Not everyone is selling how to become the person to unlock that. And usually part of the course is becoming the person. They always have like module 1, mindset, etc. But if you look at presence, right, it's actually just a human development, character development platform, because you're getting access to these people to pick their brain, to become exposed to how they think, which develops your character to vibrate the same as them, and therefore attract the same as them, or build and
Exactly.
the same as them. And I don't think there's anything that truly properly does that, because it sort of just lacks that depth. It's almost like instant gratification. All platforms are built, again, coming around instant gratification.
Yeah.
Rather than loving the process of becoming that better version of you,
Yeah.
and having some platform that makes that fucking easy,
True.
right?
Yeah. So if you look at entrepreneurs of the 70s, they had far less technology to be wealthy today. Today you have everything from AI to the websites, the internet in general, and people still struggle.
It's the double-edged sword of exposure. Because
Yeah.
as much as you have exposure to all these good energies, you have exposure to all of these that you unconsciously model too. Right.
And throughout time and history, they've always had that. You always have, because without white,
True.
you can't have black. Without up, there's no down.
So
Without
the
left,
guy in
there's
his
no right.
little village in the castle that ended up becoming a mogul, he had his village idiots, but he had these other guys too that
Yeah.
he would have. It's a choice, I guess, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look at the president of India. He used to be a tea seller. He used to make tea. He's a tea man. He made tea and sold tea. Today he's the president of India. Or Alan Sugar himself, right? Like he was born in poverty, and today he is a lord in itself. So you can see people that have been through hardship tend to get to the top. Why? Because they've built in discipline. So any money that they received, they didn't squander away because they were disciplined. They were a bit more grateful as well. And so, yeah, I believe that if you don't already have that and you want to be that, you kind of need a mentor. You need somebody to teach or model around. You need to pick these habits. And I sense that, I know presence is that's what presence is trying to deliver to people as well. So, yeah.
Last thing I'll ask you, bro. We are entering September 2025. What do you see for presence? Where do you see it by the end of this year? And then the second part of that question, that being said, what do you see for it as a company, as a business, in terms of impact through 2026? So starting with by the end of the year, and then tell me about what you envision for Presence in 2026.
So I envision the end of the year, we want to have all of the, or as many niche pages onboarded as possible, build our reach and our audience.
To this baseline number, do you feel the 10 million followers, 100 million views reach doable by the end of the year?
I think, yeah,
Cool.
I think it's doable. The reason it is doable is, and it'll only be doable if the person or the niche page that we approach also wants to make money and also has common sense and is able to be smart enough to make that decision and realize, actually, this is an opportunity. Because you have a lot of people that think every opportunity is a scam. And unfortunately, those people don't really go anywhere. If I could have thought that as well, I could have thought every opportunity is a scam, and then not done anything that I've done, right?
Same.
Yeah. So the mindset that needs to, we need to meet, and most often than none, the niche pages that we're going to meet, it'll be extremely ironic if they don't grab the opportunity because they're in the niche of self-development, and here you are contradicting what you're actually posting, right? So that alone will shed off the wannabes, and we'll probably get the real substance and the real people. And once we have that, I believe getting the creators or the coaches would be relatively easy. And again, we'll get the real coaches because the winners will see the potential, will see, hey, this is a winning opportunity, I'm going to jump onto this. So there alone, the fakers will drop because
they understand the process. The coaches that won't want this will look at how much money can I make ASAP. They're just thinking quick money, desperate, scarcity. But then the ones that see, okay, shit, reach, this much reach, what is it going to do for my brand in the next 6 months, 12 months? They're the ones that we're going to attract.
Because we're getting now the veterans, that people that almost have no resistance to an opportunity that is just brought in front of them that makes sense. The other ones will be biting their teeth and biting their nails and grinding their teeth and just anxious about it. So I believe that by the end of this year, we should and most likely will have the niche pages on, and I think 2026 will be powerful because while the niche pages grow on our database, we'll also get a bunch of creators and coaches and mentors, leaders of industries jumping onto Presence, wanting to utilize it. I believe we'll have the seed capital for that because most of it, some of it is already being raised from within us, and then we'll have somebody else come in to really grow this. And I believe in 2026. We should have a working product live with millions of users.
What is that? Do you even think like this? What does that look like on a revenue standpoint?
Well, it depends. It depends on the market forces and how much people charge. So it's very difficult to give you a honest answer on what the revenue is going to be. But let's say we have 10 million users. We would at least make $1 per user. So if we've got 10 million users, I can safely say we will at least make $1 per user. So we will get 10 million in revenue per month.
Okay. So then times 12 is 120 million
roughly.
If we have 10 million users.
And that's me downplaying it by just saying we're only going to get $1 per month.
And that's obviously that's the potential of a software entity if you get it right.
If you get it right. And the 10 million users is, to be honest, not a lot. But it also is a lot. It depends on your point of view and your experience.
But even the angle we're taking of leveraging these affiliates and leveraging creators, we obviously break through the barrier of converting 10 million minds because these guys already have them.
Yeah, and 10 million, if you look at it, is a drop in the ocean. Like there's 8 billion people.
100%. 100%. All right, bro. Awesome. That's us.
Awesome.